Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Welcome to the Heliosphere.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Generally, I'm intrigued about your use of social media as doing yoga myself, because you use it, I find, for two things. One is clearly to promote and communicate your classes, but you also, it seems that in some of your messages, you allude to like points of how to relate to people, how to communicate, how to relate to yourself. Maybe just a general question or general comment on how you balance this. So what the key messages are that you use in social media?
Yeah. So the prime reason why I use it is that I am self-employed, and I realize that I have to. Whenever you work for someone else, you're at the mercy of someone else, their whim, if they decide to let you go. And I've been, I've been let go from jobs before, and I started to understand that I need to create my own community. But that community, I don't want to show them just one side. So although I do use it to tell people where I'm teaching and to advertise retreats and different events, I try to create as much balance as I can. So if I'm going to talk about, I usually pick about 3 topics. So one would be, say, the physical side of yoga. So it could be like a posture. The other would be more philosophy, and then the third topic might be my personal life. I try to have about 3, and not to have a scattergun approach. And I found that I go into class, for example, and people will reference things that I've said on social media, and I think I forget that people are actually reading this. You just write it, and if someone doesn't comment back,
out there,
you think it hasn't hit home with anyone. And it's helped me to create that independence, but ironically, become almost like a slave to my phone. At the same time.
But on that slave to the phone topic, which I think is also very interesting, because specifically in yoga, obviously there's a really strong notion of basically a strong, I don't know how to say it, it's not really a concept, but one of the core principles of yoga are this connecting to yourself, basically connecting to your breath, connecting to yourself. And at least in your class as well, it's like a lot about self-connecting, feeling your body, being aware of your body, being in the moment, and so forth. But on the flip side, social media seems to be exactly the opposite. It's like an externalization. It's very ego-driven. It's very outside of that inward relationship. So do you feel there's how do you just, these are very abstract kind of concepts, and part of this conversation and the other conversations are just trying to understand this whole world of social media and how we relate to it, basically. So how do you kind of, do you see it in your mind when you do things on social media? Do you see it very much as this is simply just a broadcasting instrument where I just broadcast some of my thoughts, or do you see it as potentially more, or there's something else there as well?
Well, actually, I know some high-profile yoga teachers that turn off their messaging. You can't message them.
Yeah.
It's one-way traffic only.
Yeah.
And
so pure broadcast.
Pure broadcast, yeah. But I make sure that I respond to every comment, and
mine as well.
Yeah.
Trying some bullshit.
Because if you don't do that, people will stop engaging with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am very conscious of how much I use it, and I try to. Like we're talking specifically about Instagram, for example.
I think that's the most. That's actually the most dominant channel. I wouldn't know. I think you do a bit of Twitter as well.
I do a bit of Twitter,
yeah.
but
I haven't seen you on Facebook.
But 0 likes, no retweets. No one ever engaged with me on Twitter. I don't know why. So,
but I've seen you most, like, basically the stuff I follow from you is all on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't really know what. Facebook is a case of. I post on one, post on the other. It's just easy.
Yeah.
But most things come from Instagram. But in terms of broadcasting, no, I do try to create communication, and I always respond to people. But I think, if people there's an argument that you could say that you're making people feel inferior if you're somewhere exotic, or if you're doing impressive pose.
Yeah, but jealousy bias now.
But which we all experience. I see people, when I first started in social media, I looked at all the male teachers. I basically Googled male teachers, and I could see they were all had suntans. They were loads of tattoos on the beach doing one arm handstands. And I thought,
and the push up.
Well, I'm not going to go down to Hoth, with the blowing wind. So I thought I can't compare, but that's my own insecurities. And maybe if we were happier in our life, if we had real community, what's happening on social media wouldn't bother us as much. But it's the fact that we live more individualistic lifestyles. So technology is great because we've become more independent, but the downside of that is we're getting more lonely, and then what you see on social media is compounding that. But I can't control how other people feel. Equally, I can only control how I feel. So I understand that there is an argument to say that social media is affecting mental health, but I think that's just it exacerbates it, makes it worse. But I think we're experiencing breakdown in communities anyway.
Well, there's a fine line. Like there's actually research that points to directions that it actually it's good for your mental health if it's used in a certain way. Like it can circumvent loneliness, and a lot of the challenges are more the use of the mobile phone, not so much the use of social media. So if you go to your desktop and would just be doing social media on your desktop, and you wouldn't be constantly like distracting yourself from all the lovely things happening in your environment by looking at the fucking phone, then you could have a better experience with social media. So in many cases it's not, and it gets confused often. It's like, oh, social media is terrible, but it's actually the fact that you're constantly looking at this little screen when you could actually be looking at the ocean or looking at the sun. That's one thing. But social media obviously draws us in through the phone, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. But you mentioned a few times community. I'm kind of curious about that. You said one of the purposes or reasons you do social media is to build a community, and connecting to that community, and also replying to the messages and comments to keep in contact with that community. Just on a very high level, like what would you define a community being, or what's your how do you? Is it like just a shared interest group around yoga, or would you?
No. Well, the thing is, if it wasn't yoga, it'd be something else. Yoga is the vehicle to bring people together. But what I've experienced in my life is the older I get, the lonelier I get. I used to have loads of friends in school, then quite a few friends in work, and now I basically don't have any friends.
I'm your friend.
Yeah, true.
Only now. Once the camera's off.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin who? But what I realised is that so yoga is the vehicle to bring people together. And for example, I'm doing a retreat in September. And I put tickets on sale on Friday. It's almost sold out within 24 hours. And that's because of social media. A big part of it, because it's a reminder. So it's a tool to build a real community. Well, I don't know I'm doing that. It is a real community, so that we can do more events together. And the thing is, Kev, it's not going to go away. It's how we use it. But one thing I am a little bit concerned about is privacy, and obviously this is where you come in and your project comes in, because I wonder, there's so much video footage of me. I mean, there is a lot of people that in 50 years time could they recreate me saying something that's not actually me saying it.
Oh no,
just like facial expressions.
That's like now. Like that.
Now, exactly.
It looks a bit weird, but it's possible.
But you either live life. It's like Oprah Winfrey said. You either live in fear or love, and some things are out of our control, or maybe they're not. In terms of the growth of social media, and therefore I choose to embrace it. But privacy is definitely a concern. What's the driver behind your project?
So one of the core principles of the Helios project, basically, which inspires these conversations, and the Heliosphere in general, is kind of exploration of social media needs, is decentralization. So the whole notion of, imagine a Facebook, let's just take Facebook, could be an Instagram, could be any social media network. Imagine a Facebook and everything it does, but without a central server. So imagine it in a way that obviously none of us ever downloaded any movies, but like in the downloading movies days, you would have like a list. It's basically a BitTorrent. You would have a list of seed files, basically the movie or whatever the file is that you want to download is spread over thousands of computers, but each computer doesn't hold all the information. Only the unit that connects them holds the information or needs it at that certain point. So decentralized networks is a big trend at the moment, and it's a trend so strong that even guys like Mark Zuckerberg are talking about it.
Oh wow!
The way you basically build up social media experiences without a central server, so you don't have a central attack point, you don't have a point that has to host and manage the information. Basically everybody is responsible for their own information, and everybody controls their own information, but still has access to all the features and all the things that are possible. It basically flips the control, but in an interesting project we did before Helios, a project called Bigfoot, we did a lot of questionnaires with the public, and we actually asked the public very clear privacy questions. And a lot of people said they're really concerned about privacy, they would like to have more control. And then you would ask them, but when were you in the privacy settings the last time? And they said, I don't know. So with control and wanting to control privacy and being aware of your privacy needs comes responsibility and comes the need to actually do stuff. So there's a weird line in this kind of research, which is that convenience always trumps privacy. Like everybody says, worried about privacy, but then is too lazy to actually. It's too convenient not to change the settings. So obviously there's an argument that the settings are too complicated and so forth. But there's definitely a massive trend in these platforms, including the project I'm involved in, Helios, to decentralize the information, which then creates a lot better scenarios for privacy. But there's kind of this, which I'm fascinated about, and you kind of pointed to it again. I'm coming back to the community. I'll let you go on the community because you did go like this, a real community, and I kind of like that.
I bunny use it.
Yeah, and the thing about an online community, and you're building your online community, and congratulations to the power of that, because you sold out your tickets really quick and so forth. So that's a really good story. But at the same time, you're taking this online community and bringing and getting to know them, or getting them into reality. Okay, like most of the people you would know, like me and others. But where's the, like, it's almost, again, this is just explorative. I'm not expecting you to know this in any way, but just together kind of teasing it out.
Sure.
Where's the difference, or the lines where you say, okay, this is an online community I'm building, this is what I get from the online community, and this is what I get when I then see a real community? Because obviously there's all these things about boundaries and all these kind of real and online things, and is it maybe just a hook, like social media is just a hook that pulls people into like the real communities, or what's your feeling about?
I think it can be, but I think some people feel it's a substitute, and that's where the problem comes in. They're like, they do that instead of actually going out to meet people. Whereas for me, it's a hook, like you said. And I think the benefit of being very transparent on social media is that when people meet you, they're not disappointed, or they don't think, oh, you're not actually a wise sage. You're like you say dumb stuff or whatever it may be. But I don't know what it's like growing up in social media, because I'm 37. I didn't discover the internet till I was 18.
Well, I'm 58. So.
Looking great.
It's a yoga.
Tickets available for the retreat. But like I don't know what it's like to grow up with it, and therefore I don't see it as a substitute for real connection. But it's a hook.
But at the same time, I just find, and this is just my personal feeling, I just find the lines are getting a bit blurry, because at the same time there's comments, people then direct message you, you write back, there's something like, some of the members of your community, have you been able to build a stronger relationship to them through Instagram, let's say, because you use mainly Instagram, through social media, in this case Instagram, and then when you meet them it's kind of easier or something, or is it actually more disrupting? I'm just trying to tease out the whole relationship aspect.
It's much easier, because you have a baseline understanding of them. The thing is, people fear the most about social interaction is that making that first step. to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
like, oh, do I know
The
what their name
icebreaker.
is? I forgot their
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Social media, as long as they're not doing some silly like handle, you can say, oh, I know their first name. I can go, hey John, how are you?
Hey Bimbo 69.
That's
not my name.
Yeah, exactly. I see you. I see you went climbing last week. I go there too. How was it?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
There you go. Because you've seen one picture, so
Yeah.
it makes it. It does make it so much easier, and but it's not subject.
But then down the road, does it stay easy or does it get confused? Because there's always this, and this is maybe more into your private life, which you don't have to talk about if you don't want, but it's not just your community and yoga teacher. But if we go into WhatsApp and we go to YouTube and we go to different messaging and other social apps, and there's these things which, the blue hook anxiety, where you send someone a message on WhatsApp, and then they did
what the check thing?
Yeah, the
yeah.
two checks. Sorry, the hook check.
Oh, that's good.
But like you send someone a message, and then that person doesn't read it within a day, and then you're like, what's going on? Because you get these weird new. I find them weird new. Some really good, but ways of communicating where there's like around the communication. If we communicate face to face, just you and me, we pick up subconscious clues. Obviously, like I see face expression, see body expression. I can kind of feel if you're interested or not. Like I can pick up these things. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes not. But online, obviously, there's this distance because of the device. I don't see the name, but there's all these little things, emojis, and then there's the double ticks and all that. How's your relationship to those kind of?
Well, I mean, texting is a skill, isn't it? It's the whole emoji use is a skill as well. I realised that I'm terrible at that. Like I will, I'm quite blunt, you know.
But why would you say you're terrible at it? Like,
Because
did anybody ever say that?
Oh yeah,
you're shit at it.
Oh yeah,
you're using shit emoji.
Oh, completely. I've been in relationships with women, whatever. Yeah. So and then they've said like. What do you mean by that? And I said, oh, sorry. And you throw in a kiss or a smiley face, you've got to cover yourself.
Yeah.
So for the lads or people out there, throw in a smiley face and a kiss and that covers you for any message. But in work relationships, I'll say, can you cover this class? No, sorry.
Yeah, it's direct.
And instead of just saying, no, sorry, hope you find someone, smiley face, or not a kiss and that. Might throw a kiss in as well. Just a kiss. But so I have found that is something that, because I haven't grown up with that, I didn't grow up with texting, and I still kind of not struggle, but I could be more aware of my skill in communicating on social media. Does that answer your question, Kevin?
Yeah. It's not really a question. Again, it's all part of
discussion.
Trying to figure it out, because I don't think anybody really knows how these things work. We just kind of use them and move along with them, and they kind of form themselves a bit. You know,
I wonder though, like what is going to happen in 10 years that it's going to be like virtual reality or whatever it may be, like
brain upload.
Yeah, brain upload. Yeah. I mean, I'm conscious. I want to stay abreast of these technologies and how communication is changing, because I realise that when I'm communicating with someone who hasn't embraced the medium Instagram, I think less of them. I actually do. If I see someone using a tool poorly, I think they're less professional, for example. So, for example, if I'm working with a studio, because I teach at a few different studios, if they use Instagram in a poor way, or the photographs are bad, or it's not creative, I don't desire them as much. Because it's
part of their brand.
It's part of their brand, exactly. It's part of their experience and
brand communication.
You know, Instagram is like your kind of your own little art gallery, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, there's an art in being a good communicator, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah. I find, and that's why one of the main reasons why it's nice to talk to you about it. I find yoga, this whole kind of, let's call it market even, about mindfulness, meditation, yoga, all these very much self-connecting, and they've all thrived. Like they've just gone through the roof in the last 10 years. At the same time when social media went through the roof, like I have no data or science to back this up, but there seems to be some kind of real strong need for activities that connect us back again to ourselves, in thinking that if you connect back to yourself, you can connect to others. Maybe but then again, obviously there's a whole market around yoga to look beautiful and to have a whole ego-driven, I'm a great kind of whatever person, and look at my granola, peanut butter.
Well, there's 2 points there. The first one is about the irony of things like Headspace,
which is the meditation app,
which is bringing a brilliant practice to millions of people that would have seen that practice as something that's woo-woo or done by a monk 1,000 years ago who they can't relate to. But because it's in an app on your phone,
and it's a beautiful app.
Yeah, it's really well done. It is. So encourage people to do it, but that's ironic because I'm trying to be present and yet you're on your phone. Yeah. But I think that's fine because that's our attention is on our phone.
Yes.
The other thing about aesthetics, and yes, the yoga industry is becoming more driven by what you look like and your physical prowess. We like to look at beautiful things. We like to get healthy things, like things with vitality, and pictures are very powerful. So I know a lot of older yoga teachers who haven't embraced social media and they're against it, and they're struggling. Like that makes me unpopular saying that, but and I think, okay, you got your principles, I get it, but like I don't. Who wants to struggle? No one wants that. And although we shouldn't be driven by aesthetics, I mean, since the ancient Greeks, we've liked, to look at certain things, and that will bring you in. But I know loads of good-looking, physically impressive people on Instagram, but they don't make very little money teaching yoga. It's just if you look at them on Instagram with 100,000 followers, you think, oh wow, I bet they're doing really well. It doesn't make them good at their craft.
Absolutely.
Maybe they get sponsorships and stuff, but that's another story.
It's interesting. Maybe just to round it off. I mean, I'd love to talk to you for hours about all this, because it's a really, again, it's like I think social media is a massive social experiment at the moment. Like including the designers, don't really know where this is going or how this is actually panning out, and it's just so immersed in our society now. But maybe just to finish off, and it's not really about social media. This is more about yoga or the increased trendiness of these practices. Where do you feel it might, and it could have nothing to do with social media, but where do you personally feel has this need come from, or why this increased interest of modern society for yoga, for meditation, for generally for these things, and maybe even yourself? Why did you start doing yoga and then become a teacher? But just generally, is there something in us that seeks to be fulfilled? Or?
Well, I think a big part of it is the collapse of the church.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I mean, I actually look at people that go to church on a Sunday and they're chatting to each other, chatting to neighbours, and I think,
community again.
That community, and to understand that there's hopefully something bigger than us, more of a spiritual perspective. Otherwise, if you live for yourself, I think about this like I live for myself, and now my girlfriend lives with me, and it's almost like I live for her. I live to provide for her, and I because if you're just living for yourself, it doesn't last for long with that satisfaction. And but anyway, get back to what I'm saying. Sorry, about something. Why has yoga become so popular in Ireland? I mean, we're seeing through the alcohol industry now, aren't we? With all these zero alcohol beers and people eating more healthy granola, whatever it may be. And I think you see the decline in pubs, you see the pub culture, you see the decline in the church culture, and people want to come together, and yoga is just a tool for that. Also, as well, if you practice yoga, I think it paints you in a light that you're forward thinking. So maybe that's it. It's the new religion.
That's great. Nice. Okay.
So come to worship on.
Yes, to your retreat. It's booked out. Okay, cool.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the chat.
Yeah.